of Steel was directed by Zack Snyder and stars Henry Cavill, Amy Adams, Michael Shannon, and a whole bunch of other great actors and actresses in the official start of the DC Extended Universe. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tim. Welcome to another episode of The Tim Show. And I think the time is probably right to start talking about the films that lead into the highly anticipated Zack Snyder's Justice League, which will be available to stream on March 18th. We don't know the exact time yet, but guys, we're getting pretty close. And I do want to start this video out by saying sorry that I know a lot of you guys were probably expecting the Raya and the Last Dragon review to be out before Man of Steel, but I had a change of plan to my weekend, so I'm actually not seeing Raya and the Last Dragon until tomorrow. And I would like that review to actually be up sometime late in the day on Thursday, so I do apologize for that, but since I do have some free time now, I wanted to talk about Man of Steel because leading into Zack Snyder's Justice League, I want to talk about Man of Steel, I want to talk about Dawn of Justice, and yes, we are even going to talk about Justice League 2017. This is going to be, for the most part, a great adventure, but I feel like it's only right because if we're going to be going into Zack Snyder's Justice League, I feel like I'm going to have to share my thoughts and opinions on the theatrical release of Justice League that came out in 2017. And that's what I'm going to do. But today we're mostly going to be pretty much going to be talking about Man of Steel. Now, I would like to say to everybody watching this that even though Man of Steel has been out since 2013, for these reviews, I'm really not going to dive too deep into spoilerish territory because, there may be some of you guys that might be hearing a lot about the Snyder Cut and you haven't seen Man of Steel or Dawn of Justice or even the 2017 version of Justice League. And maybe you want to kind of go in with an open mind and maybe just kind of like start from the beginning and then when you get to the Snyder Cut, see what all the hype's about. I get that. There's probably some people out there. And I think it's probably best not to drag this video out too long by going over every single story detail. So I'm just going to kind of go over some synopsis points of the story, give my thoughts, means what I liked about the movie, what I disliked about the movie, and then give it an overall grade at the very end. So that way I can just kind of keep this video short, sweet, to the point, because I'm thinking for the Snyder Cut, we are really going to have to go in on detail for that movie. But for the next couple reviews, and probably most of my reviews going down the road, I want to try and keep them as short, sweet, to the point, not many spoilers, but, really do over some things about the film. So let's start with Man of Steel. I have a lot of backstory with Man of Steel, and, growing up around that time, I was a pretty big Superman fan. I still probably am, probably a little bit more Batman, because I grew up more with Batman. But I was truly excited for when they announced Man of Steel because, one, Zack Snyder was directing it. I was already a Zack Snyder fan because even though I was probably too young to watch this at the time, but my parents didn't really give a shit, I watched 300, and I thought that was a great action-packed movie. If any of you guys haven't seen 300, you probably should go and watch it. It's just an absolute blast. So there's that. But I knew that when my stepdad was telling me some stuff about the director, Zack Snyder, how he's a big action person, I'm like, okay, I think that this could be what Superman needs at the time. Because at the time, we never really got to see Superman go all out in an action movie. He's flying, saving the day with a smile on his face. I get that. That is technically Superman. But, I like action movies. I think it's no surprise, especially to all my friends. They know how much I love action movies. But, I've been wanting to see a Superman movie where Superman literally just beats the crap out of people. And that's what Zack Snyder gave us in 2013 with Man of Steel. And God, I just have all these memories coming back in my head about how, even from the first teaser trailer that was shown during The Dark Knight Rises, and even the new trailers that would come up later, it was exciting. It was very, very exciting. And I don't want to go too deep in that, but basically I have a lot of personal history with this film. And maybe one day I'll do a story time video where I talk about really how much this movie has impacted me and how all the crazy stuff that's happened with it. But I know you guys are here so we could talk about the movie. So let's go ahead and talk about that. So here's a little quick synopsis of what you can expect from Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. So when Jor-El finds out that the planet Krypton is doomed for destruction, he he steals an ancient item that is used to kind of guide the Kryptonians, when they are born, to tell them what job they're going to do. And he believes that by taking this item and giving it to his son, Kal-El, which is Clark Kent Superman, he will be able to keep Krypton alive. General Zod, nah. He doesn't like that. So General Zod stages a coup, and he starts to eliminate all of the higher people in Krypton because they doomed the planet. They didn't listen to him and Jor-El. And Jor-El's not really happy about Zod turning this way, and it starts to lead to some crazy stuff. But eventually, Zod gets captured, Superman gets sent all the way to Earth, and thus begins our story. Now, with what Man of Steel does, Man of Steel tells the story of Clark where he is right now in the current time, but we're showing his life via flashbacks. And I know a lot of people aren't necessarily a big fan of the flashbacks, but I think Zack Snyder handles them very well, because when Superman deals with certain situations, we get a flashback explaining how he, was introduced to these situations in the first place, and it really shows a lot of character development with the story. So we see Superman kind of going about through his daily life, and then we find out that General Zod has escaped the Phantom Zone. He's after Superman because Superman may have the item that Jor-El was taking from Krypton to try and save it. And General Zod wants it. So after General Zod threatens the Earth and tells them they have 24 hours to give over Superman to him, he will destroy the Earth. So, wasting no time, Superman goes to Zod to try and give some manner of peace. But Zod doesn't like that. He already starts to go terrorize planet Earth, and Superman must save the day. Now, I know my story synopsis was kind of choppy, but I'm really trying not to go too deep into spoilers here because, for my movie reviews, I really want to have people be surprised in what they see and just kind of give you an idea of what you can expect, so that way you can enjoy the movie for yourselves. If I want to do an actual spoiler review, maybe I'll do that down the line, but let's just stick with the regular movie review for today. So that's exactly pretty much what you can expect with Man of Steel. We get to see Superman going about his daily life. Zod's coming down because he wants some item that Superman has. Fight. Destruction. There's our plot summary. Superman versus Zod. So that's basically the plot in a nutshell. Zod's looking for something. Superman may or may not have it. Conflict, fight, movie. And there's also some other stuff too. Like I said, I want to keep that a surprise. So the one thing that I like when I talk about movies, I kind of like to start with what I disliked about the movie first and then end with stuff that I like. And, as far as dislikes go, and, I'm trying not to, because as you guys know, I'm a big Zack Snyder fan. I love these movies, but I do have some issues with them. Not every movie is perfect. And for Man of Steel, there's one thing about the film that still kind of bugs me today. It doesn't bother me as much, but seeing it in the theater, it was a little distracting, and that is the shaky camera. Yes, Man of Steel does have some shaky camera sequences throughout the entire film, and it's a good thing that Zack kind of caught on with that for his later movies, because now there's no shaky camera in Dawn of Justice and Justice League. It's all just nice and steady. But I understand why Zack decided to do this with, moving the camera around like that, is because he wanted the audience to feel as though they were with Superman on this journey throughout the entire film. I get that. It makes sense. But there are a good chunk of times where sometimes in the early action sequences when that camera is really kind of shaken, and it can be a little distracting. But it doesn't take me away from the entire movie, because the movie has an amazing score by Hans Zimmer, and the action and the music really blend in well together. So I was never really caught off on the movie, but the shaky camera, and I have that issue with a lot of movies that I see. I'm not really a big fan of shaky camera, but Zack's isn't too bad to the point where I don't want to watch the movie anymore. But that's really my only negative with Man of Steel. Now let's talk about the things that I like about this movie. The things that I like about this movie is that it does a great job of character development, mostly pretty much for Clark. It's because we can really kind of relate to him in these situations. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Well, Tim, he's got superhuman abilities. How in the hell can we relate to that? Well, it's not just that. It's the fact that when we go through Clark in these flashbacks, we really see the kind of things that normal people go by on the on a daily basis. He was bullied, doesn't fit well with people. He's trying to find his place in the world. And I think it's safe to say that we're all kind of in that situation where, growing up, we're all trying to find out where we belong in this world. We may have some hidden talents, Some people are good at writing, some people are good at sports. We each have our own individual talents. And I think Zack did a great job of making Superman and making all of his characters, as a matter of fact, relatable to the audience in some way, shape, or form, just like the Marvel characters. And I know people can argue about that, really get into detail about how they're not relatable and whatnot. But for me personally, I think Marvel and DC do a great job of relating their characters to ordinary people to make, to give people that sensation that, yes, we all have our own superpowers and we all have our own special gifts, and we just need to find out what we want to do in this world and how we want to do it. And that's why I like that Zack does. Zack really takes Superman on this personal journey. And I know that it is very depressing. And there's been a lot of jokes with the DCEU about how these heroes are all dark and gloomy. But here's the thing, guys. And it's something that I do like that DC does because it's different from Marvel. Marvel, you have the energetic, fun, happy, laughing superheroes that we all love. I love the MCU. And you guys have seen from my reviews of WandaVision, I completely love the MCU and its heroes. And I'm sure in some time I'll even review the MCU movies. But, when you're going to do what the MCU does, you kind of have to take it at a different approach. And Man of Steel did that. Man of Steel is a pretty intense movie. The DC movies, they can be fun and good, but they also take it to a different level that is not shown in Marvel, and that is taking that kind of darker road. Now, granted, Man of Steel is rated PG-13 like any average superhero movie, but it can get some pretty intense with some scenery and its action. And once we get into Dawn of Justice, we're really diving into great territory there. But no, it's the fact that the movies are a little bit darker, so that way it's different from the MCU, and that's what I like what these movies do. Especially with Zack's movies. The other movies kind of take it the Marvel approach a little bit, but with Zack really tried to make his movies different from the MCU by having it darker, having it be more intense, and even if it's a little depressing, that's fine because it's something different, so we're not seeing the same thing over and over again. Even though, yes, when Marvel does it, it's a masterpiece every single time a new movie comes out, and I've had no problem with it. But yeah, that's another thing I like with what Man of Steel does. It's different, and I like that. The action in this movie is absolutely tense. The action was everything I wanted it to be when I first heard the stories and behind-the-scenes footage of this movie while it was in production. That this movie was intense. The fight scenes were intense, and it was just absolutely amazing. The story itself it's a pretty simple story to get. It's essentially Superman discovering who he is, getting to that point where the world looks to him as Superman while learning about his personal growth from childhood to Superman, And I know with a lot of DC films, people get kind of confused on where the story goes, but I think Man of Steel does a pretty good job, and it's a very simple story. You know who these characters are, you know where they're gonna go, and Zack is just like, you know what, I already know where they're gonna go. People know from the comic books and other films, ship. So there's that. Another thing too, the acting is absolutely amazing. If I had to pick out a standout actor, every actor does an amazing job. But if I had to pick a standout actor for recognition, I'd have to give it to Michael Shannon, who plays General Zod, because most of the time in this movie, especially if you watch the behind the scenes, he's essentially filming this entire movie in pajamas. And the way that he drives his performance is just absolutely amazing. And when my stepdad was telling me about who Michael Shannon is as an actor and how he'd be great for General Zod, I'm like, okay, I can't wait to see it. And as soon as Zod appears on the screen for the first time, I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Let's go. Such a great movie. And there's so much that I can talk about, but I want to try and keep these videos as short as possible. But yes, overall, does Man of Steel, for me personally, hold up today? Yes, I think it does. If you're looking for a great epic action movie, Man of Steel has got you covered. Even if you've never seen a Superman movie before in your life, if you're looking for a really great action movie with really good story development, go watch Man of Steel. even though my only flaw is the shaky cam, it's still, like I said earlier, it doesn't take me away from my overall experience. I do really still enjoy watching this film today because of all the little things that Zack puts in his movies and how he really treats these characters well, and with how he and his editing team bring all the scenes together, how he works with the composer to make the music. God, the music. And we're going to have so much more to talk about. But the music too, just everything just fits well with the film. And the shaky cam is honestly my only big issue with this movie. And with that, I'm going to give Man of Steel, I'm going to give it a B+. If it didn't have the shaky cam, probably would have been an A-, A+. But, there are some scenes with the shaky cam that, can be a little bothersome. But I think everything else in that matter just totally rocks in the movie. So I'm going to give Man of Steel a B+. Thank you guys so much for watching my review of Man of Steel. I promise you guys right now that my review of Raya and the Last Dragon will be coming up very soon. I'm seeing it tomorrow night, and then I'm actually going to try and get the film review done sometime on Thursday. It'll probably come out in the evening, but that's when you can expect it. And then later on, when I've got some time, probably might be a little bit crazy because I have a little bit of a crazy schedule. I will be talking about Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition, and then ending it off with Justice League 2017, leading up to the Snyder Cut. But yes, expect Raya and the Last Dragon will be next. I'm not jumping into Batman v Superman. We're going to go right into Raya and the Last Dragon. That will be next. And then after that will be Batman v Superman and Justice League. And then kind of like how I said in one of my earlier videos, the Snyder Cut video may take a little time because because I'm going to want to watch it. But I will try and get the series premiere of The Falcon and Winter Soldier out there as quickly as I can. So thank you all so much for watching, guys. And it's only going to get better once we start the next movie, which will be Dawn of Justice. But that's not what I'm talking about next. It's going to be a long day today. I have to work today. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Have a good one. I'll see you guys in the next review.